welcome to the Kuriaknits podcast. My name is Erin, and I'm so glad that you've joined me here today. On this podcast, I like to talk about everything that I've been knitting on and just everything to do with yarn and knitting goodness. If you've been joining me for a while, you'll know that this is yet another new location. I am now in Leeds, UK, for a conference. I'll be here for the next week or so, and so I'm in a hotel room. So this is kind of a sneak peek of what it looks like. It's actually a really nice hotel room. It's really nice to have a change of scenery and a proper bed behind me, which I am so excited for. At our previous Airbnb, I was staying with my husband in, oh my gosh, Copenhagen. I was only there for a month. I'm staying with my husband in Copenhagen, and the bed dipped like this. So my husband and I took turns sleeping on the couch. So because we would just end up on top of each other, and it was so hot that we just it just couldn't happen. So we took turns sleeping on the couch, and I must say it is so nice to have a bed all to myself, and the pillows are a lot thicker than they were in Copenhagen, and as a side sleeper I am very thankful for that. But you guys aren't here to hear me gripe about hotel rooms and Airbnbs. You are here to listen to me talk about all things knitting. So as I mentioned, I was in Copenhagen. If you want to see me explore 10 of the yarn stores in Copenhagen, I will link it up top. I will also link it in the down bar below. I visited 10 beautiful Copenhagen yarn stores and just shared my experience. Copenhagen is really kind of the center place of knitting, it felt like. Everywhere on the streets I saw people knitting, and it's just a yarn store in every corner, it feels like, and I got far too much yarn. And not only did I get yarn in Copenhagen, but a yarn store that's close-ish to me, Galt House of Yarn in Cambridge, Ontario, had a large moving sale. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I am mildly on the market for a set of Chaogu needles, and they had, I think, 30% off their Chaogu sets. I think the sale has ended now, but I'll link it down below if it hasn't. And I ended up picking up a set and sending it to my house for my lovely husband, who is now at home to keep for me. So I'm not only spending exorbitant amounts on yarn here, but I'm also spending money on a whole new needle set at home. I'll share that in the next podcast, where I will be finally back home in Ontario. It feels like forever. I miss my dog so very much. But I ended up getting the small interchangeable red lace Chaogu set, and I'll share more about my thoughts on that when I get home. But for now, I am just working with my my brain. Other set of needles that is from that website. Anyway, I'm working with a different set of interchangeables. The set I've been working with the whole time. I'll link those down below too. I like them a lot. It was time for an upgrade. But anyways, let's get into knits. You'll notice that I'm wearing a new FO. I don't think I even talked about this in my last podcast. So if this color looks familiar to you, you will know that it is from my Camisole number 4, which I did end up unraveling. It was just too big in odd ways, and I just couldn't make it work for me. The whole light's just flickering. It's natural light. It must have been a cloud or something. That was so bizarre. Anyway, I don't know if you caught that on camera, but it was like a giant cloud went over the sun or something, but like for a blip. Very strange. Anyways, so this is a ranunculus. You can see all the lace work there. I did it with a wide neck, and yeah, I absolutely am obsessed with the way this came out. This is by far my favorite summer knit, and I did quite a few modifications to it, but before that I'll just explain what I knitted in. So this is one strand of knitting for all of Pure Silk in the shade Sunflower, and one shade of the Crea Deluxe Organic Cotton in the shade, oh, I don't remember what the color is. The colorway is number 9. I don't have the yarn here because I sent most of my yarn home with my husband. He had the checked bags and I had to take a Ryanair flight to get to Manchester. So I did not have room to take all the yarn. So I won't be able to show you everything in this podcast. Unfortunately, usually I kind of show it. So I ended up using almost 2 full balls of the pure silk and almost 3 balls of the Crea Deluxe. And I think that they are a beautiful combination together. I got the idea to do that from my experience knitting with the Camisole number 6, which I will show shortly, probably next. And just the feeling of the knitting for all of pure silk with the cotton to pair with it was a feeling that I absolutely loved. I think that the 2 yarns balance each other really well, and I was very lucky to be able to get the Crea Deluxe cotton in a color that is almost identical to the Knitting for Olive. The cotton that they had, I wasn't at the Knitting for Olive store. I was at Sommerfuglen. Don't know if that's how you say it. It's a store in central Copenhagen that also sells Knitting for Olive. They did not have the cotton that matched to this silk. The silk I actually got in London, England at one of the London UK stores. So I was just very lucky to be able to find the Crea Deluxe cotton that matched almost exactly. And honestly, I'm very glad that I have it with 100% cotton as opposed to the cotton merino. Just because it's a little bit lighter. I will say that though, I'm not quite used to having knitted shirts, and it is like heavier than a typical t-shirt, but I haven't found it's been too hot, but I also haven't been in extremely hot weather in a long time. Being in Northern Europe, I think the hottest temperature I felt here was 29 and it felt like death. But back home, there's already been some 35 to 37 degree days. So I probably would not wear this in that kind of weather, but I'm very happy to wear it in like 20 to 25 degree days. But yeah, I just am absolutely obsessed with the way that this came out, and I honestly might make another one in this exact combination because I ended up getting some more of the Knitting for Olive pure silk before I left, which I will show in the next podcast episode because again, I don't really have any of my acquisitions here with me. You'll be able to see a lot of them in my previous video, but I actually did get just a little bit more yarn before I left. I had a bit more room in my suitcase, so I kind of ran out and grabbed a little bit more while I was in Copenhagen. But again, I sent that home with my husband, so the next episode I'll be able to show my last minute acquisitions that I got from Copenhagen. But if you're in the mood for more acquisitions, you can check out my latest episode where I talk about my experience again going to the yarn stores in Copenhagen. And just note, if you can hear doors closing, again, I'm in a hotel, so excuse me, there's not much I can do about that. But thank you for sticking with me. So anyways, I have knit this pattern before. This is my 3rd time knitting the Ranunculus pattern, but this is my first successful t-shirt. I will show one of my whips. I've knitted it in that yarn before. It's a linen wool blend, and it is a sport weight yarn, and I don't love the way that the Ranunculus looks on me in any yarn that's thinner than a DK. So this is 2 fingering weights. It's about a DK weight, and I actually like the way this looks. But a Ranunculus is usually knit on 6mm needles, and I knit this on 5 and 4.5 for the collar. And to accommodate the smaller gauge, I ended up going up to a size 4 where I would ordinarily be about a size 2, and I really love the way that it looks. The only real difficulty that I had when knitting this pattern is I did have to add some more stitches on the sleeves because the sleeves were really tight when I had first knitted up, even in the size 4, and I think that's because I was working with a tighter gauge. And I just had to add some more stitches. And actually now that the yarn has relaxed a little bit, it is a little bit too long. So there we go. When knitting the Ranunculus, they have 2 different necklines that you can cast on for. I ended up just doing my own neckline. I find the 2 necklines that they have confusing for whatever reason. So I just cast on, I don't know if this would be spoiling the pattern. I just cast on 90 stitches and did a twisted rib. So hopefully that doesn't, I don't think that would spoil the whole pattern. Yeah, I don't think there's any other modifications that I made, but I'm very happy with the results, and I've already worn this lots of times. I will say that if you are knitting in this combination of yarn, it relaxes a lot. So I didn't actually gauge swatch with this. Obviously I should have, but I didn't, and this yarn combination has relaxed a ton. It was originally quite a cropped length on me, which I wanted to wear with skirts and dresses, and I had worn it out to actually the what is it called, Christianberg, the big palace in Copenhagen, with a pair of culottes that are a lot like a skirt. And as I was walking there, the shirt was just falling and falling and falling because I didn't block it, because I don't have any capacity to block things here. But it was not a skirt length by the time I got to the place, so I had to kind of tuck it in. But it was just kind of funny as it fell as I was walking, and I didn't quite expect that from cotton. But I would say, like, even without blocking, I think it looks great now that it's fallen into place. It's really brought out the lace work up here, but I will just note that it definitely falls. So if you think you have a cropped length, you may not, but that's okay. I'll wear this with shorts and pants. That's what I've been doing, and I actually really love it. I don't know how I don't know how a cropped look would actually look. So I feel like this length is really good with the ribbing, and it was originally like more up here. I don't know. I actually like the way that it looks now, and I feel like the proportions may look a little bit off if I had gone too much shorter, if that makes sense. Water break. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have too much else to say, but I will say that this has made me realize why people absolutely adore this pattern. I really like the sweater that I previously made in it in Drops Air, but nowhere near as much as I am absolutely obsessed with this shirt, and I'm sure it will result in many more shirts to come. Speaking of Camisole number 6, I've got it right here. So this is Camisole number 6. Now, I think in the last episode I was on the body maybe and just finishing up. I don't remember, but I have finished it now, and this is what it looks like. And it had to go through some major surgery to make it wearable, and even then I think I'm going to be frocking this, which is going to be a bit of a pattern with the next 2 finished objects, and it's inside out. Hold please. Not that you'd really be able to tell, it's basically the same pattern, but this is the right way around. Now, I really love this yarn combination. This was inspired by Caroline of Caroline Knits. She had test knit this camisole in a beautiful blue color, and they didn't have the exact blue color available, and so I went for the same light blue that she used and a slightly darker blue to create a marled effect, and I really like the marled effect. If you've been following me, I have been struggling with camisoles in that they have all been too big for me, and I have learned a couple of things after knitting this camisole and the next one that I'm going to show you. The first is that I have a shorter than average armhole depth, and I think it's just because I'm quite short. I'm just under 5'2", so almost all the shirts have huge armholes, which make them very difficult to wear for me. Secondly, my row gauge, the vertical gauge is a lot taller than other people's, and I don't know how to account for it because my stitch gauge is bang on, but my row gauge for this camisole specifically is like 2 to 3 stitches too tall, and I don't know how to account for that because if I size down my needle, my row gauge will be off, and so I don't know whether to reknit this and just keep that in mind. There's a way that I can shape the armholes that I think will be fine, and I think I could like accommodate for that, no problem. But the surgery that I had to do is at the top, there's some rows of just knit stitches or stocking stitch, and I had to go beyond those rows to connect it to make the arm depth even realistic for me to wear, and it's changed the look of the camisole a little bit, but it was also just a bit of a pain in the arse. And I feel like, so this is actually the way it's supposed to be worn, this way around, and because I had changed this depth, now it's too short. So I could rip it back and just add length, which I might do because I do actually have quite a lot left of both of the yarns, which I will talk about in a moment. But I don't know, I'm just very conflicted on it. I feel like I'm not making a lot of sense. Oh, and the third thing that I learned is I have lost 3 inches around my bust. So I have been knitting the wrong size this whole time for basically everything I've knit in the past little bit. I measured myself on a whim, just being like, well, maybe this is the answer, and it was the answer. Yeah, my bust, I've lost 3 inches since coming to Europe. And here's the thing, that's fine. I'm quite pleased about it actually, but I don't know if I'll just gain it back when I go back to North America. Obviously my preference would be to not, but I don't know if I can trust myself to not let that happen. So part of me is like, just keep this as is, it'll probably fit in a couple months, but how, I don't know, this just kind of seems stupid to me. Because maybe I do keep it off, I don't know. So I'm finding it quite hard to think about knitting these tank tops because I do want them to be quite a bit more fitted, but I don't know how to accommodate for a changing body. So something like this, like a t-shirt, is a lot easier because it's meant to be a bit baggier, whereas this is supposed to fit quite a bit tighter. And I just don't know how much I trust myself to make that happen right now. So I'm thinking of ripping this back and making more of a plain t-shirt, just like a raglan style t-shirt, similar to this, just without the lace. And I think that would look really nice, and I think I'd wear it a lot more. But at the same time, I really love this design. I think that the camisole number 6 is lovely, and if I could reknit it and make it work, just amend the pattern a little bit and to make it work for my body type, I feel like I would really love it and I would wear it a lot. So let me know if you are knitting or have knit this and you've come across the same thing, whether your stitches are too tall or you've been dealing with weight gain or loss and you don't know how to accommodate when you're knitting. I've been thinking a lot too much about this camisole, and I'm still not entirely sure what I want to do, but I know I need to do something because I don't want it to just sit in my closet. The yard is too nice for that. I want to be able to make use of it and to be able to have something that I'm going to want and love to wear. So yeah, so I ended up knitting this in, again, the pure silk from Knitting for Olive, and their cotton merino. And these are the 2 colors that I chose. This is the dove blue here, and this is petroleum blue. Let me look that up. But regardless, I have been looking at other people's camisole number 6 and just kind of keeping an eye out for other people that may have been experiencing the same thing, and I haven't really found anyone that's experiencing the same issues. So I know it's a me issue, and I don't know, I just don't know what to do, really, is the summary of it. This is Dusty Whale Blue, and I love the color of these. They go well with my eyes, and I don't know, I just really want to make this into something wearable, and I have so much of extra yarn that I feel like I could really do something with this camisole. So let me know what you would do. Let me know if you would reknit camisole number 6, or if you would knit a t-shirt or what. But I have basically the exact same amount of yardage in these as I did in the yellow to make this, so that I know I could make a t-shirt, like a bit of a baggier t-shirt with it, and that might be the answer, just because I know that whether I gain or lose weight, it'll fit and it will be something that I like to wear. So anyway, that's where my Camisole number 6 is at. I'm glad I knit it. It was a really enjoyable knit. It was quite a quick knit for me. But yeah, I just don't know how I feel about it. And that is very similar to how I feel about this next one. I think this is a whip last time I showed it, but this is the Aosta Camisole by the Knit Purl Girl. And it looks like this. It's getting blown out a little bit, but it's in just like a ribbing pattern. And it's a very simple shape, just triangle camisole. This is, you could pretty much tell this is too big for me. The weight loss strikes again. It really just falls too low. You'll see this I-cord edging is pretty short, and I think it's still falling a little bit too low for my taste. Not entirely here, it's falling too low again on the sides. But unlike Camisole number 6, my row gauge is bang on for this, and my stitch gauge, like gauge in general, is bang on for this. So I think I just chose too big of a size, especially because I was accounting for 3 inches more. But I think this is even bigger than 3 inches too big. So I don't know what I was thinking. I remember in the last podcast I had talked about how it was a bit of a shock that I was such a large size in her patterns, and I'm just not. Yeah, I need to relook at that size chart because I don't really know. I haven't gotten to the bottom of what went wrong on this one, but I know that I do really like the pattern. I think it looks really nice. I like the color, but this is another one that I will likely be frogging. No fault to the pattern, no fault to anything really, except for me. I am just having rotten luck with these summer camisoles, and again, I just don't want to waste the yarn. This is the We Are Knitters cotton that I had initially gotten in a kit and didn't love the cardigan that the kit was supposed to knit up with. And I have 6 or 7 balls of this. This took up only 1.5. So I have a lot of this cotton left, and I was just planning to make like 2 things with it, 2 summery t-shirts with it. And yeah, I don't really know what I want to do with it next. I mean, it is a DK weight, so I could and might make another ranunculus because I just am obsessed with the way that this came out. But I don't know if I'll love the way it falls as much without the silk content. And this is of course just 100% cotton. It is Pima cotton. I do think it's one of the better cottons out there. Not that I am suggesting to order from We Are Knitters right now. I think I personally am waiting, if you're familiar with everything that went on, I'm waiting to see how things go, and I haven't really seen a lot from them that makes me confident in their process. But yeah, I think if you're a new knitter and you're looking for a kit, I think that that's a viable option. I just don't know if I choose them for just yarn. But I do quite like how this looks. So again, this might be a pattern that I wait for next summer, maybe when I have a bit more experience summer knitting, to knit up again. I keep on seeing on Instagram again, just people with their absolutely lovely summer camisoles, and I just can't seem to make them work for my body type. Or I guess my style of knitting. So I think I'm going to be moving forward going for summer knits that have a bit more of a substantial upper portion. So whether that's a tank top with thick straps or a t-shirt or something like that. I've got 2 of those to show you next. But I think that this style of camisole with the thin straps and the triangles and things like that just aren't working for me, aren't working for my body type, aren't working for the way that I knit. And I think I need to stop forcing it and give it a break, especially for this summer. I'm just going to be focusing on things that I know I can knit, know I love to knit, know I love to wear on my body, and maybe we'll revisit it next time. But I've kind of come to terms that this kind of knit isn't working for me. So the other option I have for this is I might gift it. I might see if my mom would wear it. She'd probably wear it with like more of a cardigan. I also need to weave in that end. But yeah, I mean, I like the way it looks. It's just, maybe as like a swimsuit cover up, it would be really nice. If I made it longer, I feel like that could be a cute, viable option. But anyways, that's the Aosta camisole. I've actually bought this pattern in the sweater, the mohair sweater version. And I had gotten all those cones of mohair from the thrift shop a while ago, and specifically the orange one. I can't find a yarn that I want to pair with it because it's got like a white core, and I just don't think that would really look good with any yarn. And so I'm planning to knit the Aosta mohair edition sweater in that yarn in the future. And it was nice being able to knit up this because I know that I really like the stitch and I really like working it. So that was one good thing that came out of knitting this pattern. And I'm excited to explore some more of the Knit Pro Girls patterns. I really like the crescendo blouse especially. So I might be knitting that up soon. I really like it. Let's move on to whips. The first whip is one that I've shown you before, and I still need to get up on Ravelry. I don't think it looks very good yet because it's knit from bottom up. This is, oh my gosh, what is happening here? This is a self-drafted tank top, kind of. I took the stitch count for the body from a free pattern on Ravelry, and I just recently split the back. See, this is why I haven't taken a photo of it because it looks ridiculous. The back portion from the front portion. So it's going to be a cropped tank top with thicker straps and a high neck is my idea. And it is in this Manos del Uruguay Milo yarn. And I think the color is something like rainbow fish, rainbow trout. It's a yarn that I picked up in Toronto and I just love the color variation on it. So this is the yarn that I had initially made a ranunculus with, and I just didn't love the way that it knitted up. If you're curious, you can find it on my Ravelry. But that was on 6mm needles, and I'm knitting this on 3mm needles, and I love the way the fabric is turning out infinitely more. I think the marling on it is really cool, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but you can see it in the skein. It's just so pretty. It's a bit of a statement piece, but I think with just like a plain pair of jeans, it'll look quite nice. I'm also, for that reason, making it more cropped just because I don't need to wear a ton of this. It's a little bit much for me. So I ended up splitting the hem on the bottom, the ribbing, and then bringing the ribbing up the sides. And then I'm going to, I've left the whole of the ribbing on hold because I'm going to pull that into ribbing for the armhole. And then I'm just bringing this up, decreasing on the sides, and then I'll end up doing straps and a high neck like I had said. So that's my plan for it. I'm happy to not be knitting in the round anymore just because it felt like this took forever. I mean, on 3mm needles, it just takes a while. This yarn is a sport weight yarn, and I don't usually work with sport weight yarn, so it's a little bit of a weird weight for me, but I've really been enjoying it. I really love seeing how the colors come together. I find myself just admiring this, and if this tank top doesn't work, I'm determined to make something with this yarn work, and I think it will become a hat first, but then maybe like a shawl or something that I can put on, or a mini blanket that I can put on a bed or couch or something, just because I love the way this is knitting up, and I just can't, I can't keep doing this. But I'm hoping, I've got hope for this pattern that this is going to work out just fine. And if you have any advice or you've got a tank top pattern that you really love, drop it in the comments, but I will keep updating you on how this is going. And I'm thrilled that I've at least split the front and back, and we're going somewhere with this thing because I feel like it's been on my needles forever. To be fair, it hasn't really been my priority knit, but it has been a knit, and I really want to get it done. So I'm really worried that when I go back to Canada and I've got infinite ideas at my disposal, that this will go into the back burner just because I'm not quite as excited for the finished object, just because I know that a yarn this loud I won't necessarily wear very often. This is a symptom of when I got it, I was a newer knitter. I'd only been knitting for like 5 months, and I didn't have a good grasp on what kind of colors and yarn types I liked working with. I just saw it and thought it was absolutely beautiful. and it is absolutely beautiful. But now I don't think I would have bought this yarn, just knowing that it is a little loud, a little louder than I'm used to wearing. So yeah, I mean, everyone deals with that, but I just want to make sure that I'm using my stash well. I don't have that problem with the next knit though. This is a knit I don't think I've shown, but I've gotten quite far on. This has been my primary knit for the past little bit, and I have been super enjoying working on it. Let's get this the right way around here. And whoop, this way, looks like this. So this is the Rosenlund top by Sari Nordlund. Who else? I think I'm getting that name right. I should look that up. This pattern was one that she just recently released. Sorry, my laptop's over here if you're wondering why I keep reaching over. This is one that she recently brought out. Yeah, the Rosenlund top. I got it. I got this. And I just absolutely loved the lace work on it. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I just wanted to cast it on. So the front is the same as the back. And you basically knit the back panel and then the front panel. You combine it on the sides, and then you work in the round to your desired length. And it is definitely not a beginner pattern. It is all over lace work, but I really love the way that it's coming out. I'm a little concerned again. The armholes are very big, but a lot of people have been wearing it as a vest, so wearing it over t-shirts, and I think if the armholes are truly that big, I will be doing the same. I'm just a little bit worried because lace obviously grows when it blocks out, that it's going to turn huge. But I've been kind of pulling on it to see where it would grow, and it doesn't seem like it's likely to grow very much lengthwise. It does seem like it's likely to grow quite a lot widthwise, especially with these cables in here. They are blowing out just a little bit because of the color, but these cables, I think when they are pulled out, will really give it quite a lot more width. I'm knitting this in a size 3. I knew enough to go down from my usual Sari Nordlund size 4, but also I'm just glad I did the size 3 just because of how much it's going to grow. I think that will be perfect for me, 3 inches bigger or 3 inches smaller. But yeah, I'm just loving the way this is coming out. This is being knit in Sandisgarn Duo in the color, I think, Putty. Kit. In the color Kit. It's just a beautiful off-white color. It is 55% merino wool and 45% cotton. I got 5 skeins of this, and I'm just finishing up the 3rd skein on this beauty. So I think I've got just the right amount, and I think I will have a little bit extra because I don't want the length to go too far. This is about a little bit under my bust right here, so I do want it to be a bit longer than my usual cropped length, but not like outrageously long. So I think 5 skeins was the right call. That's what it called for. And this is a DK weight yarn. Yeah, it's been a really enjoyable knit. I've also got a little stitch marker. Look at this little gummy bear. I showed in my Copenhagen one that I'd gotten a gummy bear from the Garn KBH shop in Copenhagen, and I went back and she recognized me. She had watched that video. Which is so embarrassing because I'm like, oh yeah, I had bought a mountain of yarn and now I'm here for more yarn. So thank you for just calling out my shame in your shop for all to see. But she gave me this little gummy bear for free. And I love that my previous gummy bear has a gummy friend. Yeah, I've never been a stitch marker person, but these gummy bears make me so happy. like stupidly happy. So thank you very much. I was so happy to be able to chat to someone and get to know her a little bit more. So that was a lovely yarn store experience. But yeah, I've been loving that knit. It's been really good so far. I will say one thing. So there are 1x1 cabling here, and they're supposed to make like little cable circles, and mine do not look like little cable circles. They just look like texture. And I don't know why mine aren't making circles. I've looked through, it's a newer pattern, so like not a ton of people have made it, but I've looked through other people's, and one other person's cables had done this as well. And I've looked up I'm cabling without a cable needle, and I've looked up a whole bunch of videos, because I'm like, maybe I'm cabling wrong, and I'm not. So I don't know why mine's doing this. I'm hoping it blocks out to look like it's supposed to, but if it doesn't, I mean, I think it looks cool. It just doesn't really look like the way it's supposed to. I'll try and insert a photo of what it's doing, because I feel like it's not focusing as well as it should. But yeah, anyway, if you have experience with 1x1 cables and have also experienced this, let me know if it blocked out and looked the way that it was supposed to. I tried like tugging on the front stitches to try and make them stand out more than the back stitches. I think that's what's happening. It's like my back stitches aren't falling back enough. And I've tried playing with tension to see if it's just like a tensioning issue, like I'm not pulling it tight enough or not letting it be loose enough, and I cannot figure out what I'm doing wrong. I mean, not that it looks bad by any means, it's just not the way it's supposed to look, so I don't really know what to do with it. But anyways, let me know if you have experience similar with 1-to-1 cables, because I don't know. It's one of those things where I thought I was getting pretty good at knitting. I was like, oh yeah, I can do all the things. I can do lace, I can do cables, I can do, I don't know, lots of stuff, color work. And this past 2 months of knitting has humbled me, because first there were the summer patterns, and now there are these 1x1 cables, and I just feel like a bit of a mess of a human. And you know what, we're just chugging along. We're just gonna keep on going. Yeah, I don't really know. So the last thing I have to show you, I have on cables here, because it's got kind of a weird stage and I haven't been knitting on it as much, but this is sweater number 15 by My Favorite Things in Knitwear. Looks like this. It is an all over cabled sweater, and I have just joined the net line up, and basically it's just all over with these cables. So this was really big in the this was really big in the Instagram space when it first came out. I think so last year, I think 2 years ago. And I've really admired the pattern ever since then. I had bought it early last winter, and had intended to make it with the red yarn I eventually made the Kenley pullover with, and then never went back to it. But when I had seen this color in the shop, I just knew that it had to become a sweater number 15. And I had the pattern, so I could just pull it up and didn't have to pay for it. So that is great for me. I really love the cabling along the side here, that all the other cables come out from. It's such an interesting way to do a bit of a raglan, and it's been really enjoyable to knit on so far. And it's gone on hold a little bit just because I realized I wanted to prioritize all of my summer tops that I want to, and in making, just because summer is not going to last forever. We've only got 2.5 more months left. So yeah, things are going by really, really fast. But I am knitting it out of these yarns that I picked up in Copenhagen. This is Ficolana Arveda, which is 80% superwash and 20% nylon. Heard lots of people talk about it. It's a bit of a staple here in Europe, but I can't really find it anywhere in Canada that doesn't involve a lot of shipping. So I was happy to pick some up here and give it a go. It seems like very standard, not much special about it yarn, but I've really enjoyed working with it. It kind of just does the trick. I see why a lot of people use it. It's affordable, it's good, and yeah, what more can you ask for, really? And then I have paired it with Drops Kids Silk, which is 75% mohair and 25% silk. And the colors are pretty much bang on with each other. Drops Kids Silk, we can get in Canada, not in the stores near me, but I can pretty easily get it shipped to me. I just haven't used it before, so I'm very happy to be using it, and it's definitely cheaper to get here. I don't remember, I think it was like 40 crowns, 40 Danish crowns, and that is less than $10 a skein in Canadian. So yeah, a decent deal. I got 6 of each, I think, and that should be enough for the sweater. The sweater has a lot of positive ease, and I didn't want as much positive ease as the sweater recommended, so I am knitting, I think, just the second size, which would ordinarily be a small, and I'm never a small, but I think the ease was like 15 centimeters of positive ease, and I just nothing I never want anything with that much positive ease. I think people with kind of my body type, I've seen other knitters say the same, that just like for people that are a little bit larger, that much positive ease just doesn't look great on a lot of people, and so I just don't need that much positive ease. So I'm knitting this with just like an inch or two of positive ease, and that is great for me. And if I do run out of yarn, I'll just make it cropped. Nice thing about being short is I almost never use the amount of yarn that is recommended in patterns, because even if it's not cropped, if it's regular length on me, it's still shorter than it would be on other people. So yeah, I guess that's lucky. I don't know. But yeah, like I never want anything basically going past like just below my waist, because all my pants are high-waisted, you know. I'm not going in on that low-waisted trend. I'm just not gonna do it. So I guess that makes things a little bit easier for me. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to show you today. To end off sweater number 15, I am loving it. Again, I think it's a wonderful knit, and I'll continue to update you as I chuckle on with it. And it's pretty fast too. I've been knitting on it pretty quickly, which has been really nice, and I really love the color. I think it'll be such a fun color to wear, especially post-Christmas. I feel like I get into these like lighter, sagier colors in like January, February, and March. Be fun St. Patty's Day sweater. That is thinking too far ahead. But anyways, I don't have any acquisitions, I don't think, to show you. Again, I sent those in the suitcase with my husband, but I am here in Leeds for a conference for the next week, and then the next time I see you, I will be back home in Ontario, which I am very excited to go home, and I'll have a bit of a yarn haul to show you then, and then probably not a yarn haul for like a year, because I have bought entirely too much yarn. All of it I'm extremely excited to knit on, but holy heck, I don't know where I'm going to put it in my house. I've got like a very small bookshelf that holds all my yarn, and it's already pretty full, and now it will be extra full. So we will see how that happens. I don't know if I'll check on any yarn stores. I think there is one here in Leeds. I don't know if I'll get to it. I'm pretty busy with the conference, and I'm very behind on work. I'm a PhD student, and I've got a paper that I barely started that ideally was supposed to be handed in 2 days ago. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, it will be an interesting week. I am basically hiding out in this hotel room. This morning I did go see some ruins of an old abbey, which was lovely, but that was my big field trip of the day. That's it. That's all I'm going to see. I'm not really taking time to see much of the city at all. It's not a very touristy city anyways. It's very much like, I don't know, English city living. yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that, but thank you so much for joining me and tuning in. Let me know down below what you're knitting on, and check me out on Instagram if you want to follow along with what I'm knitting more real time. Links are down below, and on Ravelry as well. You can get more detail. I try to put all of the details of the things I'm knitting, and if things are sparse, you can feel free to send me a message and yell at me, because that's me being lazy. But I hope you are all having a wonderful week. And yeah, thanks again for joining in. Bye.